Shema Rashah, call Allah Yahweh by Shema Mashak Rashah. All glory and honor to the Heavenly Father, the King of Kings, the Lord of Lords, the Creator of the heavens and earth. Call Allah Yahweh by Shema Mashak Rashah. All glory and honor to the Most High. Fisherman of Zion back with another video through the Spirit and the power of Yahweh Shema Rashah. Don't count this as a light thing to do. Lord willing, this will be edifying to you. All praises to the Most High, Yahweh, who the word ignorantly uses as the title God, in the name of his Son, Yahweh Shah, who the word ignorantly called Jesus the Christ. So nevertheless, peace and blessings to the leaders and the elders in the nation of Israel. Lord willing, you endure and stand the course until the second coming of Yahweh Shah HaMashiach. Peace and blessings to each and every one scattered abroad, so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans all across the four corners of the earth. Lord willing, you endure. Nevertheless, not trying to be before you too long. Got a good amount of stuff to go over through the Spirit and the power of Yahweh Shema Shah. But we're going to open up with Psalms 122. Shalom to all the saints through the Spirit and the power of Yahweh Shema Shah. This is the book of Psalms, chapter 122. I believe I titled this Fisherman of Zion Spiritual Bait. Are you money hungry? You know, you may be trying to figure out what does that mean, but as soon as we open up with this precept, you know, we're gonna get the definition. Because I was surprised that this definition was in here. I thought it was just something that we always been saying, as long as I ever heard people say it. But nevertheless, this is Psalms chapter 122, starting at verse 1, and it reads, I was glad when they said unto me, let us go into the house of the Lord Yahweh. So through the Spirit and the power of the Most High, we are glad to be reading, to be thinking about the words, to be, you know, motivating and exhorting one another, you know, in these last days. So if you're not glad, you got to check your spirit. You know, if you're not glad to do the things that you possibly can do as far as speaking on holy things, you know, you kind of got to check your spirit in these last days and examine the matter. So money hungry. I pulled up the definition. You know, I didn't think the definition was in here. So the definition of money hungry, it says greedy and avaricious, greatly desire money and seeking to obtain it using any means. You know, so a lot of people, you know, they like to idolize these rappers. You know, these male rappers and female rappers and the lifestyle that they living. You know, so money hungry. The definition of it again, and you could just look up this definition, and you could just Google it. It says greedy and avaricious, greatly desiring money and seeking to obtain it using any means. You know, so this is not saying that you can't have money, because you know we need money to do specific things in this life. You know, without money, you know, we can't buy things, we can't pay our bills. You know, but it's a specific thing about this. You know, being money hungry, and the definition again, I'm gonna just go over one more time. You can just look this definition up. It's mainly greedy and avaricious. It says greedy, and it says greatly desiring money and seeking to obtain it using any means. So a lot of our people, the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, they'll do anything to get money, you know. So nevertheless, we're gonna open up with Hebrews. Let me get Hebrews chapter 3. This is Hebrews chapter 3, and I'm gonna start at verse 12. Hebrews chapter 3, starting at verse 12. And it reads, take heed, brethren, lest there be in any of you an evil heart of unbelief in departing from the living Most High God. So this is you know, the things that we have to do. We have to exhort one another and encourage one another, especially when in these last days. You know, because there's so many things that is going on. There's so many things that's trying to hinder us. You know, so many things that's trying to hinder the ministry. You know, so we have to keep this on the forefront and on our minds, and realize that a lot of our people, you know, we deal with it a lot, you know, and it doesn't matter It doesn't matter what the circumstance is. We have to make sure that, we continue to speak on matters that a lot of our people struggle with, you know. So reading on Hebrews 3 and 13, but exhort one another daily while it is called today, lest any of you be hardened through the deceitfulness of sin. So, we have to exhort one another while it's called today, while we still living in these last days, you know. So the truth be told, a lot of our people, they have covetous spirits on them, and even when coming into the truth, you gotta examine things and, look at things in a sense of, oh, I didn't realize I was dealing with that. I didn't realize, that I had this problem, you know. So, you got people begging for money, and don't realize that, hey, it's tied up with the scriptures, because we also gonna go over laws on helping other Israelites, and it's a time and a place on how to do things. You can't help somebody to the point where, you putting yourself in a worse situation by helping them, and you got people begging for money, like every time we come up here, we got somebody begging for money, and it's a time and a place to do things, and you got to know when to help somebody, and you got to know when to stop helping somebody, so Lord willing, we'll be able to go over those laws, statutes, commandments as well. But nevertheless, let's get straight into it, because I'm not sure how long this lesson gonna be, through the Spirit. We just gonna go through the Spirit and let the Most High, allow the Word to have free course. So we're gonna go to St. John chapter 12. St. John chapter 12. We're gonna start at verse 1, and it reads, "Then Yahushua 6 days before the Passover came to Bethany," and we know it says Jesus, according to the late 15th and the early 16th century, the letter J wasn't invented. Like we always say, we never know who's new to hearing about this truth. Our Lord and Savior name was according to the Paleo Hebrew, meaning he shall save, So St. John 12 and 1. Then Yahushua 6 days before the Passover came to Bethany, where Lazarus was, which had been dead, whom he raised from the dead. There they made him a supper, and Martha served, but Lazarus was one of them that sat at the table with him. Then took Mary a pound of ointment of spikenard, very costly, and anointed the feet of Yahushua, and wiped his feet with her hair, and the house was filled with the odor of the ointment. So, there's a mighty act, of a woman, humbling herself down and serving the Lord, and bringing herself so low to the point where she's using her hair, to be able to, massage and, to be able to get the ointment all around his feet. St. John 12 and 4. Then said one of his disciples, Judas Iscariot, Simon's son, which should betray him, which we know Judas, had betrayed the Messiah. Verse 5. Why was not this ointment sold for 300 pence and given to the poor? So Judas, straight off the rip, after seeing this woman, put this expensive ointment on the Lord's feet, he's spoke in the midst, and said, why wasn't this ointment given to the, sold and given to the poor? Verse 6, St. John 12 and 6. This he said, not that he cared for the poor, but because he was a thief and had the bag and bare what was put therein. So he said it not because he was caring about people, and not because he was caring about others and trying to get the ointment to others. He said that because he was wanting to get the, to have that money put in his bag, And so this is nothing but a covetous spirit, Somebody that wanted something, or a greedy spirit, a covetous spirit. Hey, it's nothing new. Hey, this is the spirit that Judah was dealing with, So let me read it again. St. John chapter 12 and verse 6. This he said, not that he cared for the poor, but because he was a thief and had the bag and buried what was put therein. So one of the words when you look up, when you Google, it's when you Google money hungry, and I Google it, money hungry. It says trying to get money by any means necessary, and that's what Judas did. So greedy and avaricious. It says greedy and avaricious, greatly desiring money and seeking to attain it using any means. And so Judas Iscariot, hey, it said he was a thief, So let's go to Matthew chapter 26. Matthew chapter 26, and I'm going to start at verse 14. Matthew chapter 26, and we're going to start at verse 14, and it reads, Then one of the 12, called Judas Iscariot, went unto the chief priests, and said unto them, What will ye give me? And I will deliver him unto you. And they covenanted with him for 30 pieces of silver. And from that time he sought opportunity to betray him. You see that? So with 30 pieces of silver, which probably is equivalent to about $400 to $600, I want to say. I might be off. About four. I don't want to take too much time looking for it. The ancient day silver. Let me see. Ancient day silver. Not sure if I'm gonna be able to find it. I think it's around about $300, something like that. Let me see. It's somewhere around there. Let me see if I can find this. So he was about. I'm trying to find out how much this is. So a piece of silver. Let me see. So it's probably around about $300, give or take. So reading this one more time. Matthew chapter 26 and verse 14. Then one of the 12, called Judas Iscariot, went unto the chief priests and said unto them, What will you give me? So he wasn't worried about what he already seen and what he was already doing, because that spirit he had on him overweighed the fact that he was around the Lord, and the Lord showed him all of the miracles, and he knew a lot, so he was trying to figure out what could he consume, and he may already had in his mind, okay, he has all power, he can do all things, so he can get away, but nevertheless that wasn't the case. So he said, What will you give me? And I will deliver him unto you. And they covenanted with him for 30 pieces of silver. And from that time, he sought opportunity to betray him. So, hey, we living in the last days. You might have somebody around you that may try to betray you, for whatever reason. They might, whatever things they need, So, hey, this covetous spirits and these greedy spirits, we have to repent from them. We got to get this leaven out, because we all deal with things, it's not, no matter how mighty you try to act or how righteous you try to act, we all got things we deal with, so it's important that if you hearing this, through this video, or if you realize, because, a lot of us, hey, we may not catch it, Hey, King David said in Psalms 19, let me get this right quick. Presumptuous sins, Psalms chapter 19 and verse 12. Psalms 19 and 12. Who can understand his errors? Cleanse thou me from secret faults. Keep back thy servant also from presumptuous sins. And verse 13. So, hey, Judas Iscariot, hey, that probably was a presumptuous sin to him, meaning he was ignorant of things that he was dealing with, and he wasn't examining. That demon got so big to the point where he wasn't even aware that he had a covetous spirit on him, that he had a greed spirit on him, that he was just wanting and to desire and to have, you know. And he wasn't even thinking about faith. He wasn't even thinking about, you know, the Messiah around him. You know, he was just worried about put money in that bag and, you know, trying to possess this and trying to possess that, you know. So let's go to Proverbs real quick. I want Proverbs chapter 13. And anything that we are aware of that we deal with, we have to repent from it. A going to fast, ask the Most High for forgiveness, you know, turn away from it and amend our ways and put it away. Proverbs chapter 13, and I'm gonna start at verse 7, and it reads, "There is that maketh himself rich." Proverbs 13 and 7. "There is that maketh himself rich, yet had nothing." So a lot of people may try to make themselves rich, you know, and they may not have nothing, you know, according to them trying to put so much effort into it. You know, they may be lacking faith, they may be lacking peace, you know, they may be lacking joy, they may be lacking, you know, stability, or whatever the case may be, you know. There is that maketh himself rich, yet had nothing. There is that maketh himself poor, yet had great riches. So a lot of people, they, you know, they may take time off from work, you know, to spiritually get themselves to the position where they can be built up to have more faith, you know. So you may be to the point where you got to take off work to pray and to fast and to read and to keep the feast days, you know, yet you're going to have great riches when the Lord comes back, you know. So let me read this again. Proverbs 13 and 7. "There is that maketh himself rich." So you have many that make themselves rich, you know, yet had nothing, you know. And money can't bring happiness. Money can't really bring joy like the joy that the Lord gives you. You know, knowing that you're confident in the Lord, being confident in the Lord, you know, knowing that when you lay your head down at night, hey, whatever happens that's not in your control, you know, you in good hands because you know you're doing all you can to the best of your ability to strive after righteousness. There is that making himself rich, yet had nothing. There is that making himself poor, yet had great riches, you know. So hey, you taking time away from, you know, trying to possess a lot in this world, and you giving it time to reading and praying and studying and fasting and doing all you can to build yourself up and preparing yourself for the second coming of our Lord and Savior, Yahweh Shah Mashiach. So let me jump down to verse 11, Proverbs 13 and 11, and it reads, "Wealth gotten by vanity shall be diminished." So Judas was trying to get wealth by vanity, you know. And what happened to him, you know? Hey, that demon, you know, took over him, you know, took over him. He killed himself. Wealth got by vanity shall be diminished, but he that gathered by labor shall increase. So if you gather by labor, you know, you shall increase spiritually and physically, you know. So if you gather by labor, getting in the word, you know, you're going to increase in the word. And you're going to increase in your faith. You're going to increase, you know, in things that the Lord is going to give you, as well as, you know, having a 9 to 5, as well as, you know, having a part-time job, having a full-time job, or whatever you got to do to make ends meet, you know, because we understand it's not easy out here, you know, but it's a way that we should do things as far as, you know, financially, you know, and as far as following the Lord, you know, because hey, we just got to deal with the fact that we dealing with curses, and, you know, this is not our kingdom. So riches and all of the things that comes along with how this world get down, you know, that's not something that we need to give our minds and our utmost might to, you know. Now it's not a sin to be rich, you know, but that's just the Lord's portion on whoever he allows to have that, you know. But you can't give your all to that, you know. So let's go to Proverbs. Like I want to get Sirach chapter 9 real quick. Sirach chapter 9. Because you may be looking at somebody else and trying to figure out, well, I'm following the Lord, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. Why isn't things working out for me? And Satan can try to trip you up to get you to, to be envious of other people, the desire their lifestyle, the desire how they moving. You may stop doing what you've been doing for so long. You may try to pick up another whatever. You may try to do something else and say, well, maybe I need to do what they doing. And next thing you know, you done left your path and trying to follow somebody else's path. So this is Ecclesiastes chapter 9, I'm gonna start at verse 11. In the Apocrypha, Sirach chapter 9, starting at verse 11, and it reads, envy not the glory of a sinner, for thou knowest not what shall be his end. So you may have a lot of people trying to, do things that people do in the world. Now they're not thinking about the Most High no more. They just trying to figure out how to get the money. They just trying to figure out how to run it up. They ain't spending time getting their spirit right no more. They trying to figure out how to possess such things that's going to pull away from their faith. And now when you have those possessions and you have to upkeep those possessions, now you're losing out on all of the things that the Lord has put in your spirit from the first. And now you can't keep up with it because you can't just try to let Satan come in and overthrow your mind thinking you could do this and then you can just kind of let go of it and then you could turn back and doing that. That ain't how things kind of work out according to our what we deem as wanting to be our favor. Or I'm kind of thug it out for a month and then I'm gonna come back over here and then I'm gonna just do this. You really got to go before the Lord because all our plans don't really go according to how we plan it out. Let me get Proverbs chapter 23. This is Proverbs chapter 23, and I'm going to start at verse 17. Proverbs 23 and 17, and it reads, let not thine heart envy sinners, but be thou in the fear of the Lord all the day long. So you can't envy, how these rappers just tote money all around. Next thing you know, you talking about, well, I can't do nothing if I ain't got a such amount of money. I gotta have a such amount of money or I don't feel right. Or if I ain't got $100, I don't feel right. If I ain't got $1,000 on me, I don't feel right. Like these rappers do. These rappers talk about, oh, I don't go nowhere without 250,000 on me. And next thing you know, you got Israelites trying to move like that. Talking about I'm a God on the earth. This ain't our kingdom right now, man. We not in our kingdom yet. We gotta realize what we dealing with. We supposed to be repenting. We supposed to be returning back to the Lord. And we supposed to be waiting patiently for the Lord. But you got a lot of people. They lose patience. You got a lot of Israelites. They lose patience. They lose hope. They lose faith. And next thing you know, they just try to, put their strength in doing things for themselves other than letting the Lord do it for them. So reading down, I'm going to jump down. I'm going to go down. Proverbs 23 and 18. For surely there is an end, and thine expectation shall not be cut off. So, there's an end regardless of whatever, plans we try to make, and regardless of whatever we feel like we're going to do, and regardless of how we feel like it's going to prosper, because it's up to the Most High. The Most High really knows if you have faith in your hands or if you have faith in Him. If you have faith in your bank account or if you have faith in Him. One prayer can move a lot quicker and last a little longer than money can. Way longer than money can. Because if we understand we need things. We need cars to be able to get back and forth. We need roof over our head to be able to cover up our shame. We need food and water. We We need bread and oil, you know, to make our meals with. The Lord knows what we need, you know, but the Lord also knows our mind. You know, let me get a couple precepts on that right quick, because we can't act like the Lord, you know, he ain't dealing with money. You know, the Lord ain't dealing with money. You know, slave master out there. Hey, the Lord can raise up and bring low. The Lord gives and takes away. You know, this is Job chapter 42 and verse 2. I know that thou canst do everything, and that no thought can be withholden from thee. So the Lord really knows if we really believe that he can set us up on high or bring us down low. You know, can put us in the house, can put us on the street, you know, can put us in a car, can put us on our feet, on a bicycle, on a tricycle, or whatever we want to call it, you know. Let me get Jeremiah real quick, Jeremiah 23. I believe it's Jeremiah 23 and 29, I believe. It's like Jeremiah 23 and 24. This is Jeremiah chapter 23 and 24, and it reads, can any hide himself in secret places that I shall not see him? Said the Lord Yahweh, do not I fill heaven and earth, said the Lord Yahweh. You see that? I'm going to go up to let me see. That's a mighty one, but I can't remember which one. I'm going to just read that again. Jeremiah 23 and 24. Can any hide himself in secret places that I shall not see him? So, it don't matter where we go and what we do. The Most High, he always has, you know, our first and our last thoughts. You know, even when we sleep, you know, the Most High knows what we thinking about, knows what dreams, you know. So, we can't just act like the Most High ain't really knowing the ins and outs. So, let me get another one in Romans chapter 11. This is the book of Romans chapter 11, and I'm gonna start at verse. I'm gonna start at verse 34. Romans 11 and 34. For who hath known the mind of the Lord, Yahweh by Shema Shah, or who hath been his counselor, or who had first given to him, and it shall be recompensed unto him again. So, the Lord knows what we're going to do before we even do it. You know, the Lord, he can put something in front of us to see if we really going to believe and trust in him, or if we're going to turn and do our own thing. You know, we don't know the counsel and the mind of the Lord. You know, we just know what the Lord put in the scriptures. We just know what the Lord gives us according to the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. So, you know, man, I'll try to trick the Most High or something. You know, the Most High know, you know, what you really planning and what you plotting on and what you about to give into. You know, so let me go back to Proverbs 23. You know, Proverbs chapter 23, and I'm gonna start back at 18. Proverbs 23:18. For surely there is an end, and thine expectation shall not be cut off. Hear thou, my son, and be wise, and guide thy heart in the way. So we gotta guide our minds in the right way, you know. And the right way is trusting on the Most High, even when we don't seem things is gonna line up, and when we feel like things ain't gonna work out for us, you know. Cause that's really what the Most High look at, you know. Because those that are rich, especially those that are of the hope for the elect Israelites, you know, like King David, for instance. King David was a rich man. Job was a rich man. Solomon was a rich man, you know. But they mind wasn't just stuck on getting more and possessing more. You know, Solomon didn't ask for no money. You know, he asked for wisdom. You know, so a lot of our forefathers, you know, those that was rich, you know, they know how to handle that. But Israelites today, so-called Black, Hispanics, and Native Americans today, they don't know how to handle that. They get a couple thousand, they just go crazy, and they just stop doing what they been doing. You know, when they didn't have nothing, when they had to, you know, eat turkey sandwiches and peanut butter and jelly sandwiches and oodles and noodles, you know, back to back to back, and you know, uh, uh, just get a loaf of bread and just squeeze it together, and hey, now when they get a cup of money, hey, they just go crazy. They eating out all day, every day, you know, might gamble, you know, hey, throwing your money away, you know, moving different, buying all type of clothes and shoes, and ain't thinking about giving alms for nothing, you know. Ain't gave no alms, you know. So hey, the Lord, hey, we can't act like the Lord knows us. The Lord know we can't handle such things, you know. So we gotta know that the Lord knows what's best for us, you know. Just because we ain't got it right now, or we lost it, or whatever the case and the issue was, the Lord knows what's best for us. You know, this is Matthew chapter 6 and verse 19. And it reads, lay not up for yourselves treasures upon earth, where moth and rust do it corrupt, and where thieves break through and steal. So the treasures that we try to lay up, you know, getting different lands, getting different houses and things like that. Now if you sincere and trying to do the best, you know, and trying to possess to, for one, maybe help others, or you know, maybe kind of leave something for your children, you know, things like that. The Lord knows, you know, the truth behind all of that. But just to have, and you know, the Lord knows, you know, whether or not, if it's a covetous spirit, whether it's a greedy spirit, whether it's a lust spirit, you know, the Lord knows. You know, verse 20. But lay up for yourselves treasures in heaven, where neither moth nor rust do it corrupt, and where thieves do not break through nor steal. For where your treasure is, there will your heart be also. So wherever your treasure is, that's where your heart gonna be. You know. Now you can't stop washing the car. You wash the car more than you pray. You cleaning the car out more than you cleaning yourself out, more than you cleaning your spirit out. You know. And people you won't even let nobody in your car. You know. You say, nah, you can't sit in my car. You know. I remember back in the day, you know, I kind of, you know, was kind of hot at certain people, man, when they used to get in my car back in the day. You know, they didn't knock their shoes off. You know how you gotta knock your shoes off. Hey, did you knock your shoes off? You know, hey, that's how people are, man. You know, but hey, you forgot before you had that car. You know, you forgot before you had that car. You didn't do that when you was in nobody else's car. You know, nobody else didn't say that to you. You know, they just welcomed you in. Hey, where you say you got to go again? Okay, all right, I'm gonna take you there. You know, but regardless through all we dealing with, you know, everybody dealing with something. You know, everybody deal with something. Everybody short on something. You know, so one person may have money, another person may not have no faith. One person may not have no faith, somebody may have money. You know, you ain't gonna have 100% everything in this life. You know, you're gonna be lacking somewhere with something. You know, and this ain't to say, you know, you shouldn't want to have such things, because there's nothing wrong with having nice things. There's nothing wrong with that. This video ain't for that, but this is to get you to understand that this world about to come down. Financial, economical, whatever you want to call it, whatever you want to name it, political, and you have to have your faith and trust in the Most High. That's the first and foremost, you know, because if you striving and giving so much to get a 2-story house and 2 cars and a 2-car garage, and you ain't got your faith and you're not rooted and anchored in the Most High, you gonna be like Lot's wife. You not gonna look for the Lord to come back. A lot of people that's so worried about getting houses and cars and all of these things, they don't want the Lord to come back right now, because they want a little taste of the American dream. You know, they want to taste the American dream, or I never had nothing in this life. I never had a car. I never had this. I never had that. If you put so much into getting all of this stuff, you're not gonna be wanting the Lord to come back right now. You know, you're gonna want a couple $1,000. You're gonna want a car. You're gonna want 2 cars. You're gonna want a big house. And then as soon as all hell start breaking loose, you ain't gonna have your mindset on that. But again, there's nothing wrong with that. But you just gotta have your mind on the right things. So reading down, I'm gonna go down to verse 24, Matthew chapter 6, and verse 24, and it reads, "No man can serve 2 masters, for either he will hate the one and love the other, or else he will hold to the one and despise the other. You cannot serve God and mammon." So, hey, you can't serve the Most High and mammon. And that mammon is, you know, materialistic things, possessions, you know, and all of the cares that come about with trying to possess, you know. So it's not gonna go how you want it to go, you know. Because one thing about following the Most High, it's about decreasing yourself, decreasing your wants, and not expecting to receive a lot of things, you know. Because what did he tell the rich man, you know, and Matthew the 19th chapter, you know. I'm gonna read a little bit of that. What did he tell the rich man? You know, this is Matthew chapter 19, and I'm gonna start at verse 20. Matthew 19 and 20. It says, "The young man said unto him, All these things have I kept from my youth up. What lack I yet? Yahushua said unto him, If thou wilt be perfect, go and sell that thou hast, and give to the poor, and thou shalt have treasure in heaven, and come and follow me. But when the young man heard that saying, he went away sorrowful, for he had great possessions." So it's a lot of things that you can possess in this life, you know. And the Lord said, when he comes back, shall he find faith, you know. Now, hey, you know you gotta work, so hey, do what you gotta do. Take care of your business, pay your bills. You know, if you need a house, work, make an honest living, and do what you gotta do. You know, but on the same scale, you gotta do that and keep your mind on the Lord. You know, and have a balance, knowing that any time, on any given day, any given second, any given minute, the Lord is gonna come back, and everything that you possess is gonna be burnt up. It's gonna be left behind. You know, that's got to be the mindset always, all the time. So let's go back to Matthew chapter 6. You know, and people don't like to hear this. You know, people don't like to hear this. You know, because they stuck on it. A lot of people that may not watch this video, or that may not want to hear anything like this, they stuck on that spirit of Christianity, that prosperity message, you know. And if you know anything about the Most High, you know, the Most High, he gonna do what he want to do. He gonna do what he want to do, you know. The prophets, they didn't have a luxurious lifestyle, you know, riding around, you know, in Rolls Royce, Mercedes Benz, and things like that. You know, it's not about us glorying and, you know, receiving glory and things like that. It's about the Most High's will, you know, and that's got to be the first mindset. That's got to be the foundation, doing the will of the Most High, you know, decreasing, you know, not having our feelings and our emotions attached, you know, but letting the Most High use us to do whatever he want to do, you know. And a lot of people, if they ain't got such things, they don't want to follow the Lord. They don't want to hear from the Lord. They don't want to deal with the Lord. So, you know, let's go down to verse 27, Matthew 6 and verse 27. Matter of fact, I'm going to just go down to verse 25. "Therefore I say unto you, take no thought for your life, what ye shall eat or what ye shall drink, nor yet for your body what ye shall put on. Is not the life more than meat," talking about food, "and the body than raiment, talking about clothing. Verse 26, Matthew 6 and 26. Behold the fowls of the air, for they sow not, neither do they reap, nor gather into barns, yet your heavenly Father feedeth them. Are ye not much better than they? So regardless if you feel like, hey, you lacking this or lacking that, hey, the Most High know what you need. You know, the Most High know exactly what you need. Verse 27. Which of you, by taking thought, can add 1 cubit unto his stature? So what does that mean? You know, let's read that again. Matthew chapter 6 and verse 27. Which of you, by taking thought, can add 1 cubit unto his stature? Meaning, hey, you stressing yourself out about trying to gain and trying to get all of this according to this, on this side of this life, trying to make ends meet, stressing yourself out when we can't add time to our life. You know, we can't add no more time to our life, and we stressing about such things. You know, so it's utmost important to realize that first and foremost, that our salvation is literally on the line every day. Our soul is on the line every day. So we got to make sure we looking at the urgency and the importance of that, you know, instead of just stressing so much about, oh, I don't have this, or I need a better house, or I need a better car, you know, because, you know, you put so much into, you know, how you work so hard in this side, in this lifetime, you know, it should be, oh, you know, I didn't give no more to the Lord. You know, I didn't give more to the Lord. You know, so that should be the foundation every day. Or I didn't read enough, or I didn't pray enough, I didn't do this, I didn't do that, I didn't fast. You know, I'm lacking this, I'm lacking that. So I need to strengthen that. You know, and that's a lot of the times that's what the hope for the elect gonna have. That's the mindset of the hope for the elect. You know, that's the mindset of the righteous. You know, wherever they're at and who they are, they're gonna be trying to figure out what they're lacking towards the Most High more than what they're lacking on this side. You know, so let's go to Matthew chapter 4. This is the book of Matthew chapter 4, and I'm gonna start at verse 5. Matthew chapter 4, verse 5. Matter of fact, I'm gonna start at verse 3. Matthew chapter 4, verse 3. And when the tempter came to him, talking about the Messiah, he said, if thou be the Son of God, Most High, command that these stones be made bread. So you're going to get tempted in this life. You know, you're going to get tempted with something to the point where now you're going to have to figure this thing out towards, okay, is it really profitable for me to just give into the world a little bit more, or is it going to be more profitable for me to follow the Most High a little bit more? You know, because everybody gonna be tested. That's what tempt means. Matthew chapter 4, verse 4. But he answered and said, it is written, man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceeded out of the mouth of Most High God. Then the devil taketh him up into a holy city. So like then the devil taking him up into the holy city, and set him on a pinnacle of the temple, meaning the highest, you know. And that's what Satan, he'll try to do with us. He'll try to get in our mind. He'll try to make us think that, you know, we probably can live a better life, you know, just doing things bad and just, you know, giving into the world, you know. So Matthew chapter 4 and verse 5 again. Then the devil taking him up into the holy city and setting him on a pinnacle of the temple. You know, now, hey, this happened to a lot of people, you know, really all of us. You know, Satan to try to get in your mind and how you thinking that you can win that lottery, how you thinking that you can kind of, you know, work 3 jobs and try to make things happen, you know. But first, hey, you got to go before the Most High. Because, hey, he's the one that can really make something happen, you know. So the same way he took, you know, he tempted the Messiah, Yahweh Shah, and things is written for our learning. You know, nothing in the scriptures is here just to be here. We can learn from a lot in the Bible, you know. So hey, that's the same way the spiritual demon Satan get down. He try to make us feel like we can't do this or we can't do that. We can't do this, we can't do that. You know? So verse 7. So like in verse 6. And said unto him, if thou be the son of most high God, cast thyself down, for it is written, he shall give his angels charge concerning thee, and in their hands they shall bear thee up, lest at any time thou dash thy foot against a stone. And so that's how the spiritual demon Satan may try to have us feel, you know, in these last days, you know. So let me go to Psalms 44, because money isn't going to save us in the last days, you know. Now we know we need such things to be able to provide for our households and our families, and you know we need money to have feast days and to do things according to the congregations and things like that. But to the point where we looking for a deliverance from such things, the money is not going to deliver us from Babylon the Great. You know, this is Psalms 44 and verse 6. And King David didn't trust in his sword. You know, King David didn't put his trust in a lot of things that he could pick up and put down. And he put his trust in the Most High. Psalms 44 and verse 6. For I will not trust in my bow, neither shall my sword save me. You know, so somebody may try to put their trust in it stocking up, you know, when the famine comes, or stocking up on ammunition and guns and things like that. But the salvation is going to come through faith and you keeping the law, statutes, commandments. You calling on the name of the Lord. That's where it's going to come from. So let me get this in Ecclesiastes. Ecclesiastes chapter 7. Ecclesiastes chapter 7 and verse 12, and it reads, for wisdom is a defense, and money is a defense. So wisdom is a defense, and money is a defense. But the excellency of knowledge is that wisdom giveth life to them that have it. You see that? So a wisdom can help you and can allow you to go far in this life. Just on the same line, money can get you this, can get you that, can keep you away from not having no food and things like that. You know, but it's a certain value that wisdom upholds more than money, you know. So let me get this in Wisdom of Solomon real quick. This is Wisdom of Solomon chapter 10. Wisdom of Solomon chapter 10, and start at verse 8. Wisdom of Solomon chapter 10 and verse 8, and it reads, for regarding not wisdom, they got not only this hurt, that they knew not the things which were good, but also left behind them to the world a memorial of their foolishness, so that in the things wherein they offended, they could not so much as be hid. But wisdom delivered from pain those that attended upon her. So wisdom can help you to the point where you will make better decisions. You know, you'll be able to know how to move in certain adversities. You know, so when you go back to Ecclesiastes chapter 12 and verse 7, wisdom is a defense and money is a defense. You know, but wisdom is going to have a better and a longer resilience more than money is. So Wisdom of Solomon chapter 10 and verse 10. When the righteous fled from his brother's wrath, she guided him in right path, shewed him the kingdom of Most High God. So when Jacob was on a straight, you know, when it was Esau and all his hundreds of men, you know, wisdom had, you know, revealed such things to Jacob to the point where he was making decisions that was going to help him get out of danger. When the righteous fled from his brother's wrath, she guided him in right paths, shewed him the kingdom of Most High God, and gave him knowledge of holy things, made him rich in his travails, and multiplied the fruit of his labors. In the covetousness of such as oppressed him, she stood by him and made him rich. She defended him from his enemies and kept him safe from those that lay in wait. And in a sore conflict, she gave him the victory, that he might know that godliness is stronger than all. So, wisdom is stronger and way more valuable than money. You know, wisdom will be able to strengthen you in times when you're weak, and be able to help you, make decisions, you know. Verse 13, Wisdom of Solomon 10 and 13. When the righteous was sold, she forsook him not, but delivered him from sin. She went down with him into the pit. Let's talking about Joseph. Wisdom did not forsake him. Wisdom upheld him. And another precept for pit is 2nd Esdras chapter 5 and verse 22 all the way down to verse 24. So even when Joseph was sold by the Midianites, the Lord was able to have him preserved there and put him on a high scale to be able to help Egypt on the latter end dealing with the famine. So money wasn't going to do that. You can't go, you can't take money to other places that other people got money. But your wisdom is going to help you be what's the word I'm looking for? It's going to help you be looked at on a higher level than others, because they had the gold, in Egypt when Joseph was in Egypt. They had all of those possessions that other Israelites didn't have. But one thing that Joseph had that those other Egyptians didn't have was wisdom. So that's one thing that we should be looking to obtain more than money. So reading this again, Wisdom of Solomon 10 and 13. When the righteous was sold, she forsook him not. Talking about wisdom. Wisdom forsook him not, but delivered him from sin. She went down with him into the pit. You see that? So let me get Proverbs chapter 10 real quick. Proverbs chapter 10 and verse 21. And it reads, so like Proverbs 10 and 21. The lips of the righteous feed many, but fools die for want of wisdom. You see that? So even when Joseph was in that position, he was making his brothers think that he wasn't really him, and he was able to get them some grain. He was able to, get their father in Egypt, and the Most High set all of that up for a reason, So the Most High can set you up, 1 minute you ain't got nothing, and then the next minute the Most High putting you in a position to where you would have never even thought you would be in. And this is why it's more important to trust and follow and rely on the Most High more than money and more than any other possession can really help you on this side, So reading this again, Proverbs 10 and 21. The lips of the righteous feed many, but fools die for want of wisdom. Verse 22, the blessing of the Lord Yahweh, it make it rich, and he added no sorrow with it. So the blessing that the Lord gives, it makes you rich, and it can go down to your children, and it can go down to their children, and it's not gonna bring sorrow, because you may bring sorrow to yourself. You may have money last year, and you may have bought a nice car, bought a nice house, but you may get sick or something. You may not be able to work, or anything can happen, But anything that comes in this life, it's gonna come with sorrow, aches, pains, working day and night, having to labor nonstop, But when the Lord gives you a blessing, it doesn't necessarily come with sorrow. And so what's one of those blessings that the Lord is promising for the Israelites? The kingdom of heaven. The kingdom of heaven that's coming is not going to come with sorrow. It ain't going to be, oh, I got the kingdom of heaven, and then 100 years later, now we back in slavery. No, hey, the Lord, once He put you on the high, put you on that mountain, put you in your land, give you the things that He promised you. They ain't no paying taxes for your land. They ain't no having to clock in and clock out. That's it. Hey, the Lord, hey, He blessed you. And so it's more profitable for us to do whatever we possibly can for the Lord than what we possibly can for our own selves. So hey, having a just balance is very important. So let's go to Sirach chapter 10. Because these pastors, these pastors that's in these churches, it's sorrow that's going to come with all of the possessions and the riches that they're gaining. They lying to the sheep, So that's gonna come with destruction if they don't repent. Especially those Israelite pastors, those so-called Black, Spanish, and Native American pastors. They got a destruction coming for them. They got a hit on their head. They got a bounty on their head. So you can't be falsifying. You can't be lying for money. And that's exactly what they do. Let me get this in Jeremiah real quick. That's exactly what these Christian pastors do. They'll do any and everything for money. They'll tell you this and that just so you can join their congregation. This is Jeremiah chapter 23. And I'm going to start at verse... Jeremiah 23, and I'm going to start at verse 11. For both prophet and priest are profane, yea, in my house have I found their wickedness, said the Lord Yahweh. Wherefore their way shall be unto them as slippery ways in the darkness. And you had one pastor in Atlanta that tried to set him. He kind of hired, I forgot who his name was and what the church was, but he set something up to where somebody can come in and steal stuff out of the church so he can file an insurance claim. And it backfired on him, and it came back and they found out that he really set that up so he can get more money. So hey, the Most High got these Christian pastors on a slippery foundation. You're lying to your congregation, not telling them the truth according to the Bible. You're using the Bible to gain riches and to gain wealth status. And the Most High is going to have to get up with them. Jeremiah 23 and 12. Wherefore their ways shall be unto them as slippery ways in the darkness. They shall be driven on and fall therein, for I will bring evil upon them, even the year of their visitation, said the Lord. And I have seen folly in the prophets of Samaria. They prophesied in Baal and caused my people Israel to err. So it's a lot of pastors that's causing the so-called Black, Spanish, and Native Americans to err, to fall astray, So the Lord is not with that, falsifying and trying to gain money by telling lies and being crafty with not giving the truth, So this is Sirach chapter 10. This is Ecclesiasticus chapter 10, and I'm going to start at verse 8. And it reads, because of unrighteous dealings, injuries, and riches got by deceit, the kingdom is translated from one people to another, and as well as for the so-called white man too, try to make it seem like he was coming to where the so-called Native Americans was to come with peace and wind up killing them, So hey, the so-called white man, he's got to pay for that as well. The Edomites and the land of Idumea, all of the races of Edom, they got to pay for that too. Because of unrighteous dealings, injuries, and riches got by deceit. And America they got all of this by deceit, man, by lies, by thievery. The kingdom is translated from one people to another. Verse 9, Sirach chapter 10 and 9. Why is the earth and ashes proud? There is not a more wicked thing than a covetous man, for such as and one setteth his own soul to sell, because while he liveth, he casteth away his bowels. You know, and hey, there's nothing more wicked than a covetous man as well. You know, so hey, we have to be aware of these spirits and cast them away. You know, before they bring in more demons, more legions. You know, so being covetous is a big thing to the Most High, and that's what a lot of these Christian pastors do. You know, this is Titus chapter 1, and I'm gonna start at verse 11. Titus chapter 1 and verse. I'm gonna start at verse 10. For there are many unruly and vain talkers and deceivers, especially they of the circumcision, whose mouths must be stopped, who subvert whole houses, teaching things which they ought not, for filthy lucre's sake. You know, so you got a lot of people teaching prosperity messages just for money, you know, and the Lord is against that. You know, false apostles, false prophets, you know, these false teachers, the Lord is against that. You gaining, you using the Bible and you using the Lord to have a financial status, you know, and the Lord is really against that. This is 1 Timothy. Let me get 1 Timothy real quick. 1 Timothy chapter 6, and I'm going to start at verse 5. Perverse disputings of men of corrupt minds and destitute of the truth, supposing that gain is godliness. From such withdraw themselves. It's like from such withdraw thyself. So, hey, even a lot of people, they'll hold back the truth just to be able to benefit themselves. You know, which is a wicked thing to do in the eyes of the Most High. Verse 6, 1 Timothy 6 and 6. But godliness with contentment is great gain, you know. So what is this saying? But godliness with contentment is great gain. If you content with what you got, you know, and you godly, the Lord said you gonna gain a lot, you know, because you content with what you have and you striving to remain righteous, you know, and to be righteous as possible and to be holy, and you know, to do everything the Most High demands and commands you to do. Let me get this in Luke real quick. You know, Luke 21, and I'm gonna start at verse 34. Luke 21 and 34, and it reads, "And take heed to yourselves, lest at any time your hearts be overcharged with surfeiting," meaning the oversupply. You know, we can't get to the point where it's an oversupply. You know, I got enough, but I want more. You know, I want more, and I'm not gonna be satisfied till I get more. That's what surfeiting means. You know. So reading this one more time, Luke chapter 21 and verse 34. "And take heed to yourselves, lest at any time your hearts be overcharged with surfeiting and drunkenness and cares of this life, and so that they come upon you unawares." Yeah, you got your mind on money and cars and clothes and jewelry, you know, and it's an oversupply, you know. So the day of the Lord is gonna come, and it's gonna be, and you're gonna be unaware of it because you got your mind on things of this world. And when it's time for this world to be destroyed, you know, you may be unaware, and you don't want that, you know, you don't want that, you know. So let me get this in Philippians. You want to be content with what you got, you know. You got a house, but you all you worried about is a bigger house, you know. It's people that don't got houses, but you got a house though, you know. You got a car, you know. It might make some noises, you know. The engine light might be on, tires might be worn out, the brakes might need to be changed. But you want a whole brand new car, you know. But you got people that don't got cars, which we're not saying that, having nice things is a sin. It's not a sin. We're not saying that, but we first have to keep our mind on the most important goal and the most important thing to have our minds on, because if you don't realize that this world is going down, you got all type of you got bridges collapsing, you got people being arrested for sex trafficking, you got pedophiles coming up, and all of the things that they've been done, all the things that's being done in the past is coming to the light. So the Lord is exposing this world. The Lord is exposing this world, and the Lord is destroying this world as well, And if all you thinking about is getting a bigger house and a bigger car and putting more money in your bank account, you gotta put the Most High first, And if you ain't got the Most High first, then you gotta reroute and you gotta revisit and put things in the perspective in the right order, Because it can't be I'm gonna get this money right now and then I'm gonna come back to the Lord. No, you gotta come back to the Lord, and you got to put the Lord first and work, and then do all the other stuff, Cause it ain't nothing wrong with getting a bigger house, ain't nothing wrong with getting a bigger car. But if you so indulged in that and not even realizing that you living in the last days, you ain't your faith ain't where it should be at, If something was to happen, if you was to get a brand new car, and something was to happen to that car, and your faith get diminished, then you shouldn't have had that car. If you was to get a bigger house and a better house, somebody was to break in that house, or if that house was to catch on fire, and you lose hope and you lose faith, then it was better that you hadn't got there, So a lot of times we gotta have a balance with the Lord, to where when these things begin to get broke into, or something was to happen, or if a house catch on fire, or if your car was if you was to get in a wreck, you was to total that car, you glorifying the Lord. But if it was to the point where, man, it's always something, and then you complaining, now you should have known that maybe I should have, got a little closer to the Lord first. Because usually when you get closer to the Lord, you ain't worried about that stuff. You ain't worried about you got this or you don't got that. Now, you don't want to be no deadbeat. You don't want to be just asking people for rides. You don't want to be staying with other people if it came to that, which we all be on hard times. But you don't want to be no deadbeat. You want to do what you gotta do to the best of your ability to have, and to be confident in the things that you can work with your hands with, because the Lord gave you hands to work. You gotta work. So don't be no deadbeat. We're not saying that, but if you got be thankful for what you got. Be grateful and thankful and be content. If the Lord increase you, all praise to the Most High. But if not, don't stress yourself out. That's all we saying. Some people may think we saying, now you gotta be you gotta be out here homeless and on fire for the Lord. Nah, we're not saying that. Just realize that this place is going down. And you don't want to be you don't want to be, when the Lord comes back, you don't want to have covetousness in your mind and on your spirit, and greed and jealousy of others for all of their possessions. You don't want that. So Philippians chapter 4 verse 11. Philippians chapter 4 verse 11, and it reads, "Not that I speak in respect of want, for I have learned in whatsoever state I am therewith to be content." So, whatever state, Apostle Paul said, whatever state I'm in, I learned to be content. I'm cool with where I'm at. If the Lord bless me with a bigger house, all praise to the Most High. If he don't bless me with a bigger house, all praise to the Most High. If I get a new car, all praise to the Most High. If I don't get a new car, all praise to the Most High. That's what he's saying. He's saying, I learned to be content. Let me read it one more time. Philippians chapter 4, verse 11. Not that I speak in respect of want, for I have learned in whatsoever state I am, therewith to be content. So we have to learn this thing. We have to learn these things. You know, we have to learn that, hey, the Lord is gonna move us when He ready to move us. The Lord is gonna increase us when He's ready to increase us. If the Lord decreases us, we gotta learn how to be content with that. You know, you might have had a 3-bedroom apartment, and then you might have went down to a 1-bedroom apartment. You gotta be content with that. You know, you gotta learn to be content. You know, you can't always think that, hey, you supposed to have it all right now. You know, King David had it, Solomon had it, so I need it right now. That shouldn't be the mindset. You know, that should not be the mindset. The mindset should be, oh, I ain't got this right now, but in the kingdom of heaven, the Lord promised the Israelites that they was gonna have much and more and better. You know, so going down to verse 12, Philippians 4 and 12. I know both how to be abased, and I know how to abound everywhere and in all things. I am instructed both to be full and to be hungry, both to abound and to suffer need. So basically, what Apostle Paul is saying, hey, if I need something, you know, hey, I'm gonna do what I gotta do to get it. And if I'm lacking, you know, hey, I ain't gonna go crazy, you know. So reading it again, Philippians chapter 4 and verse 12. I know both how to be abased, and I know how to abound everywhere, and in all things I am instructed, both to be full and to be hungry, both to abound and to suffer need. So a lot of people, they don't know how to suffer, you know. So this is literally what we have to learn and what we have to strengthen, you know. Cause if your washing machine break down, a lot of people, certain things break down in their house, man, they'll go crazy. They'll just throw the whole house away. Or if something break down in their car, they'll throw the whole car away. They'll be like, I just need a whole new car. You know, when you gotta, you know, you kind of gotta have a balance in this thing. You know, so let's go to 1 Timothy. Let's go back to 1 Timothy chapter 1 Timothy chapter 6. You know, we gotta know how to be abased and abound. You know, this is 1 Timothy chapter 6, and I'm gonna start at verse 7, and it reads, "For we brought nothing into this world, and it is certain we can carry nothing out." Yeah, I mean, how can we carry thousands of dollars out of this world and thinking we're gonna take it to the kingdom? You know, that ain't gonna happen. You know, the Lord don't want no Edomites on His money, on His currency. You know, there ain't gonna be no Edomites. There ain't gonna be no Chinese man. There ain't gonna be no China currency. There ain't gonna be no American currency in the kingdom of heaven. You know, and you sure can't hold on to that if you in the grave. You know, so First Timothy 6 and 7. For we brought nothing into this world, and it is certain we can carry nothing out. And having food and raiment, let us be therewith content. So we have to be content with what the Lord gave us and what we have. You know, we got to be thankful for it. But verse 9, but they that would be rich fall into temptation and a snare, and into many foolish and hurtful lusts, which drown men in destruction and perdition. You know, so let's read that one more time. 1 Timothy 6 and 9. But they that will be rich fall into temptation and a snare. Because you're going to get tested every day, you know. and it's gonna be snares around you. You know, you're gonna have to cut people off. If you was rich, you know, people will only want you and will only desire your company because you was rich. You know, but now you got peace. Now you ain't really got that much. Now you got peace. You know, you ain't got a lot of temptation around you. You ain't got a lot of commotion. You ain't got a lot of spirits around you. But if you had a little bit more, you know, maybe much more, you know, you not know how to control your temper, hey, you gonna be ready to swing on somebody, you know. So the Lord knows what to give us and what to withhold from us, cause He know us better than we know ourselves. You know, let you get a couple $1,000,000 and you know, friends coming out of the woodwork, people coming out of the woodwork, you know, and you know you ain't no telling what you gonna be doing, or me or anybody else, you know. So going down, let me see, jumping down to verse 10, 1 Timothy 6:10. For the love of money is the root of all evil. Now it's not saying money is evil, you know. It's not saying money is evil. So you know, hey, we need money. We gotta pay our light bill. You know, we gotta pay a water bill. We gotta get clothes. We gotta get gas. But it's the love of money. You know, that's what's evil. When you love money, you know, and you always hear somebody say, "I don't play about my money." You know, I don't play about my money. They'll kill somebody for their money. They'll hurt somebody for their money. So that's the point where it's evil to you now. You know, to the point where you're going to kill somebody. To the point where you're trying to hurt somebody. You know, even so much more, your own people. You know, your own people don't pay you back. You know, when you told them to pay you back, now you're burning bridges and you're cutting people off. You know, that which, hey, the Most High ain't really, that ain't what He calling for. He calling for us to love one another. He calling for us to forgive one another. He calling for us to, you know, confess our faults to one another. You know, and now, hey, somebody owe you some money and don't pay you back. Hey, Israelites, man, they'll put all the business out there. They'll put it on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. They even hey, whatever app they can get, they'll let it be known. You know, they talk about whoever owed them money, they ain't paid them back. They keep paying, they keep asking for money. He keep asking me for money. You know, I don't know why he don't get him another job. You know, hey, the Most High is against that. That's wicked, man. You know, and that's also backbiting, a talebearer, slandering. You know, you trying to ruin somebody's reputation. Here, this person came to you for help, and all you doing is talking about them, saying it's the fourth time they done asked me for some money this week. You know, and you just letting everybody know that this person came to you for some money. You know. So reading this again, 1 Timothy chapter 6:10. For the love of money is the root of all evil. So it's not saying money is evil. It's saying the love of money. You know, and we know love according to 1 John. You know, love is keeping the commandments. You know, if you breaking the commandments to get money, you know, to obtain money, and to the point where, you know, you doing any and everything to get money, that's evil now. You know, stealing, you're lying, you know, you're robbing your brothers and your sisters, you know. You're putting faith and trust in the money, you know. You're boasting of your money, you know. Now it's becoming evil to you. For the love of money is the root of all evil, which while some coveted after, they have erred from the faith and pierced themselves through with many sorrows. So they erred from the faith, you know, and what makes it so evil, you know, a lot of people, if they ain't got it, they ain't really trying to deal with the Bible. They ain't trying to deal with prayer. They ain't trying to deal with the Most High, you know. And then they just start drawing back, you know. They just draw back from the Lord. Verse 11. First Timothy 6:11. But thou, O man of God, flee these things and follow after righteousness, godliness, faith. So these are the things that we gotta follow after. Godliness, faith, love, patience, meekness. And these are, when you read Galatians 5:22, the fruits of the Spirit. You know, one thing about following the Lord is having patience. You know, didn't Apostle Paul, didn't we just read, whatever state I'm in, I've learned how to be content, you know. So wherever you at, whatever season you dealing with, you gotta learn how to be content, you know. And even to the point where the Lord, He'll allow you to suffer, to have you think and to go back and say, well, what in the world? How did I get to this position? And now the Lord, He allow your mind to be thinking, and now you down bad, and you might have realized that, man, I used to gamble so much, you know. If I wouldn't have had gamble, I probably would have had a little bit more now. That's how the Lord will do, you know. If I wasn't eating out so much, I would have had a little bit more money now. If I wasn't spending so much money on this, I would have had a little bit of money for this. Man, when I had some money, I should have been helping people out. Maybe I wouldn't be in this position. That's how the Lord do, you know. That's how the Lord do. Hear how you thinking, you know. What are the Israelites doing now? You know, we in captivity, you know. We reading the scriptures, you know. Adam and Eve, the Garden of Eden, you know. Moses having to go before Pharaoh to get the Israelites out of slavery. How did we get to this point? How in the world did we get enslaved by some cavemen, by some people that are dogs? You know, this is how the Lord humble us. You know, when we get to the point where we ain't got much, you know, when we had this, but now we done got here, you know. So this is how the Lord do. This is how the Lord get down. Now you been thinking yourself, saying, man, you know, I really just need the Lord. I really need the Lord. I need faith. I need to believe. That's all I need. I really don't need I don't need a mansion. You know, I don't need a Mercedes Benz. You know, I just need the Lord. That's how the Lord do. You know. So going down, verse 12, 1 Timothy 6:12. Fight the good fight of faith. Lay hold on eternal life. So you got to lay hold on eternal life. You know, not trying to lay hold on a Rolls Royce key fob. You know, not trying to lay hold, you know, on 30 acres. You know, in a 6-car garage, seven bedrooms and 4 bathrooms. You know, $100,000 in your savings and $400,000 in your checking account. You know, you gotta lay hold on eternal life. You know, cause money is temporary. This money of America is temporary. You know, but eternal life and immortality should be the mindset. Should be the most important goal that you're reaching for. You know. Yeah, you know, a lot of times we struggle, you know. A lot of times we ain't got it, you know. But this is temporary. This is a stage of suffering for us to remember where we fell short at, you know. Oh, we didn't want to listen to Moses. We didn't want to obey the Most High. We was playing around. We didn't take this thing seriously. Now we got the bad end of the stick. You know. 1 Timothy chapter 6 and verse 12. Fight the good fight of faith. Lay hold on eternal life, whereunto thou art also called, and hast professed a good profession before many witnesses. I give thee charge in the sight of Most High God, who quickened all things, and before Hamashiach Yahushua, who before Pontius Pilate witnessed a good confession, that though so like that thou keep this commandment without spot, unbreakable, so like it unrebukable until the appearing of our Lord Yahushua HaMashiach. You see that? So these are the things that we should be looking for. So I'm gonna read down to this is kind of mighty. I'm gonna read down a little bit. Verse 15, which in his times he shall shew who is the blessed and only potentate, which is the prince, another name for prince, a high officer, you know, which somebody in authority, the King of kings, the Lord of lords, who only hath immortality, dwelling in the light, which no man can approach unto, whom no man hath seen, nor can see, to whom be honor and power everlasting. Amen. Verse 17, 1 Timothy 6 and 17. Charge them that are rich in this world, that they be not high-minded, nor trust in uncertain riches, but in the living Most High God, who giveth us richly all things to enjoy. You know, so he said you got to charge them who are rich in this world, you know, because, hey, they may feel like, you know, they don't need the Most High. They may feel like they don't need salvation, you know, because majority of those that really got money are you know, somebody of another nation. Or if you got a so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native American that really has money, you know they selling out. You know, you got billions and you got billions. Yeah, you selling out, man. You ain't really thinking about the Lord like that. You know, because a lot of people that got their mind on the Lord, you know, not saying they don't got money, but the Most High really, he got them where he want them, man. You know, because other people may be looking, you know, and they may be learning the Bible from people that ain't got no money. You know, that ain't got no social status in this world. That ain't got no authority in the high seat. You know, where you gonna learn the truth from? From people that's in the projects. You know, from people that's driving around with beat up cars. You know, from people that's getting on the bus stations, on the bus, trying to get from here to go to another spot. You know, that's where the truth coming from. You know, from those on the lower position. You know, the Israelites. You know, verse 18, 1 Timothy 6 and 18. And sisters, where you going to get the most what's the word I'm looking for? Virtuous women at? Where you gonna find them? Where you gonna find virtuous women at? You know, those that's following the Lord. You know, those that understand that they on the lower end and they've rebelled against Moses and they had to repent and they gotta be faithful. They gotta keep the law, statutes, commandments. They gotta respect. You know, if they got a husband, you know, and they gotta understand that, you know, they gotta be submissive, you know. But Nicki Minaj, that ain't what she doing. Cardi B, that ain't what she doing. You know, they on a whole upper echelon level, and the other women that's looking at them, that's what they looking at. Oh, I can get money and I can be independent and I don't need a man. You know, and that's what this world wants you to think. You know, but a lot of these women that's gonna be saved, they understand that they have a role, and the role is to follow the Lord if they don't have a husband, and if they do have a husband, they gotta follow that man in righteousness, you know. And anything that comes in wickedness, they gotta remove themselves from it, you know, because women are gonna be saved, and you do got elect women as well, you know. Read First John, you know, Second John, you know, to the elect woman, you know. That epistle, you got an epistle to the elect women. You got women out here that are of the elect just as well as the men, you know. But don't let these Cardi B's and these Megan Thee Stallions and, you know, all of them women like that make you feel like you ain't doing nothing. If you ain't got no money, if you ain't got good hair, if you ain't got a good big car, uh $200,000 car, or, you know, a big house, nah, that's a what we call that? We call that that's a fantasy. You know, it's another word that I'm looking for. That's a facade. I can't even think of the word. But it's a fantasy. You know, this stuff that they promoting on the internet and on TV is to have you lose hope. That's all it is. You know, verse 19. It's like it. 1 Timothy 6:18. That they do good, that they be rich in good works. So you should be rich in good works. You know, giving alms is really a big thing to the Most High. And a lot of people don't do that because they greedy. They like to hold on and they don't want to help other people out. You know, but that's big in the eyes of the Most High. So be rich in good works, ready to distribute, willing to communicate, laying up in store for themselves a good foundation against the time to come, that they may lay hold on eternal life. So you should be laying up in store for, you know, things to come, a good foundation, you know. So let me go back to Proverbs real quick. And one thing, you know, you gotta work. You know, you gotta work. A man should be working, you know, paying bills and taking care of his household and his woman and his child, you know. Or a woman, you know, she should be doing whatever she got to do in righteousness, you know. You got to work. That's just put it like that, you know. Proverbs chapter 13 and verse 4, and it reads, the soul of the sluggard desireth and had nothing, you know. So you gotta make something happen, you know. You can't be out here living off nobody else, you know, because if you just moving like a sloth, you ain't really gonna have nothing, you know. You just taking your time and you really not trying to get things done, you know. Even on the spiritual scale, you know, you moving so slow and you not really trying to put your hands to work spiritually, you know, praying, reading, fasting, and also helping others to get understanding. You ain't gonna really have nothing. You gonna have a drought. The Lord is gonna bring drought upon you spiritually, you know. So reading this one more time, Proverbs chapter 13 and verse 4. The soul of the sluggard desireth and have nothing, but the soul of the diligent shall be made fat, you know. So you working with your hands, you know. Hey, let your labors, hey, if you want a bigger house, hey, do what you got to do. But do it in a decent balance to where it's not pulling you back away from the Lord, you know. And the Lord is going to increase you because you putting that labor in, you putting that work in, even on a spiritual scale too. The Lord is going to increase you and your understanding and your wisdom and your knowledge because you working, because you putting time into the Bible. You know, you're putting time into getting closer to the Lord to understand on a whole nother level, you know. So let me get this in Matthew chapter 5, you know. So hey, you got people that may hunger for more money, but the Lord really is looking for those who's trying to hunger for righteousness. You know, that's where the hunger should come in at, the righteous hunger. You know, Matthew chapter 5, and I'm gonna start at verse 6. Matthew 5 and 6. Blessed are they which do hunger and thirst after righteousness, for they shall be filled. You see that? So the Lord's gonna put more wisdom in you. He's gonna put more knowledge in you. He's He's gonna put more understanding in you. He's gonna put you in places that money can't put you. You know, because you really hungering for righteousness. And if you hungering for righteousness, you gonna put away the evil. You gonna put away the covetousness. You gonna put away the greediness. You gonna put away the idolatry. You gonna put away the fornication. You gonna put away the adultery. You gonna put away the lust because you hungering after righteousness. But hey, if you trying to bring more money, hey, you gonna, you gonna try to possess, and you're gonna be lusting. You're gonna be thinking about other stuff, and you're gonna be coveting other stuff. Oh, I got money, so I need it. Hey, he got that. I want that. You know. Oh, he got money. He got a woman that look that good. Oh, okay, let me get a woman that look that good. So, hey, when you got more money, it comes with a lot of more other lusts. That's why, you know, when you're so wealthy, it's to the point where it's a snare, because you falling in all type of traps, you linking up with other people that got money, and you stop hanging around broke people, because 9 times out of 10, people that got money, they're not gonna be hanging around broke people. They're gonna be hanging around with other people that got money because they don't want people to leech off of them. They don't want to. They don't want people taken away from them. So now you're going into other traps and snares and being introduced into to other things, So let me get Jude right quick. Let's go to the book of Jude, which is only one chapter. Let's go to the book of Jude. Starting at verse, let's see, Jude. And I'm going to start at verse 20. It says, "But ye, beloved, building up yourselves on your most holy faith." So you should be building up your faith, and not having a lot of stuff. You hoping for such things, That's what faith is. Things that you can't see, but you hope for. Hebrews 11:1 is the substance of things not seen, but hoped for. I don't have a big house, but I'm hoping that the Lord allow me to inherit the kingdom of heaven. What I don't have now, Lord willing, I can possess bigger and greater in the second coming of the return of the Messiah. So reading again in Jude chapter 1 verse 20. "But ye, beloved, building up yourselves on your most holy faith, praying in the Holy Ghost," which is the Holy Spirit. Verse 21, "keeping yourselves in the love of Most High God, looking for the mercy of our Lord Yahushua HaMashiach unto eternal life." You see that? So that's what we should be looking for. So let me get Second Esdras real quick. It's the book of Second Esdras chapter 9. And I'm going to start at verse 7. Second Esdras chapter 9 and verse 7. And it reads, "And everyone that shall be saved and shall be able to escape by his works and by faith whereby ye have believed." So in the last days, the days where evils are increased, the so-called Black, Spanish, and Native Americans, they're going to be looking for salvation, because a lot of them are going to be approached based on their belief, for one, and a lot of them are going to be reproached, based on, certain situations, whether it be a FEMA camp or whether it be, in the wilderness or in the field trying to flee from persecution or whatever the case may be. They gonna have to be they're gonna be relying on salvation. They're gonna be relying on being delivered from whatever troubles they're gonna be facing. And it's gonna come by keeping the law, statute, commandments, believing in the Lord, and having faith. Not by money, not by any possessions that they're going to be holding on to or giving to somebody and say, well, okay, I got this, can you spare me my life? If you do, I give you this. No. Verse 8, 2 Esdras chapter 9 and verse 8. "Shall be preserved from the said perils and shall see my salvation in my land and within my borders, for I have sanctified them for me from the beginning. The hopeful elect, then shall they be in pitiful case, which now have abused my ways, and they that have cast them away despitefully shall dwell in torments. So you can't cast you can't cast away the Most High's commandments and statutes and judgments. You know, you can't do away with what the Lord commanded us to do as far as the Israelites. Or if so, we'll be in, you know, a pitiful case, like he said, and in torments. Verse 10, 2nd Ezra chapter 9 and verse 10. For such as in their life have received benefits. So you got a lot of people that receive benefits in this life. For such as in their life have received benefits and have not known me. So a lot of people that are rich, a lot of people that are turning away from the Lord to gain specific things in this life and have not known him, you know. So that's to the point where, you know, you turn away from the Lord because you wasn't getting such things, or your prayers wasn't getting answered, or you felt like you had to hold on to riches and follow the Lord at the same time, you know. So let me read that one more time. 2nd Ezra chapter 9 and 10. For such as in their life have received benefits and have not known me. So, hey, that's even to the point where you got the parable of Lazarus. You know, the beggar. He was living a life which Lazarus represent the Israelites. You know, having to suffer, not being able to, you know what we're going to eat, not being able to know if we're going to have enough to get us by the rest of the week. You know, that's exactly what that parable is talking about. Matter of fact, let me get that. Luke chapter, in Luke, let's get that real quick. So that's what it's talking about in 2nd Ezra chapter 9 and verse 10. For such as in their life have received benefits, you know. Because you got some that receive benefits in this life, you know, and they sold out, and they didn't keep the law, statutes, commandments, you know, and even the other nations, you know, they're rich and wealthy in this life. This is Luke chapter 16. I'm gonna start at verse 20. The rich man and the beggar, Luke 16 and 20, and it reads. And there was a certain beggar named Lazarus, which he represents Israel. You know, let me get a quick precept right quick. In St. John chapter 11 and verse 1. And it reads, now a certain man was sick, named Lazarus, of Bethany, the town of Mary and her sister Martha. So this Lazarus, which represents Israel on the parabolic level, because knowing the Lord, he spoke parables, you know, which had different things that may mean something, you know, totally. It may sound kind of different, but it also links up in parabolic forms and is given understanding on a whole different symbolic level, you know. So Luke chapter 16 and verse 20. And there was a certain beggar named Lazarus, which was laid at his gate, full of sores. And Israelites, they got many sores in his life, you know. Now you got rich people, they may be able to afford to eat a little better, you know. They may be able to afford better water. They may be able to afford to you know, go to better doctors and things like that. But Lazarus, the Israelites, you know, we have many sores, you know. Verse 21, Luke 16 to 21, and desiring to be fed with the crumbs which fell from the rich man's table, you know. So now the Israelites, they having to, you know, live paycheck to paycheck, you know, in the projects and the slums, You know, the last hire, the first fire, which fell from the rich man's table. Moreover, the dogs came and licked his sores. And it came to pass that the beggar died and was carried by the angels into Abraham's bosom. You know, so this is symbolic. The rich man also died and was buried. So the rich man died as well. Verse 23. And in hell he lifted up his eyes, being in torments, and seeth Abraham afar off, and Lazarus in his bosom. And he cried and said, Father Abraham, have mercy on me, and send Lazarus, that he may dip the tip of his finger in water, and cool my tongue, for I am tormented in this flame. But Abraham said, Son, remember that thou in thy lifetime receivest thy good things, and likewise Lazarus evil things. But now he is comforted, and thou art tormented. You see that? So they, you know, the rich man, he ain't stressing, you know, in this life. But the Israelites, which represents Lazarus, they stressing in his life. This is what this parable is dealing with. You know, parabolic, and is symbolizing things that are to come. The Israelites, they're going to be living good in the kingdom of heaven. And the rich man and these other nations, they're going to be slaves. They're going to be eating the crumbs in the kingdom of heaven as well. You know. So let me get Revelation chapter 21. You know. So you got many people that they may be money hungry, which money, I'm going to read the definition one more time. The definition of money hungry: greedy and avaricious, greatly desiring money and seeking to obtain it using any means. You see that? So let's go to Revelation 21. And I'm going to start at verse 4, and it reads, And Most High God shall wipe away all tears from their eyes, and there shall be no more death, neither sorrow. So you ain't going to have no sorrows, you know. So this is what we should be looking forward to. Not being money hungry, not being covetous, not being greedy, but looking forward to things that are going to come, and our reward is coming, and it's going to be based on the work that we putting in now, you know, building up our faith, keeping the law, statutes, commandments, having fear of the Most High, giving alms, charity, and helping others out in righteousness, and not with grudges, you know. And there shall be no more death, neither sorrow nor crying, neither shall there be any more pain, for the former things are passed away. And he that sat upon the throne said, Behold, I make all things new. And he said unto me, Write, for these words are true and faithful. And he said unto me, It is done. I am Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the end. I will give unto him that is athirst of the fountain of the water of life freely. You see that? Verse 7, He that overcometh shall inherit all things, and I will be his Most High God, and he shall be my son. See that? So this is a faith booster. We should be able to look at this and say, okay, you know, I got to get right, you know, so I can get my faith built up and not rely on things of the world. But real quick, you know, we're going to touch on, let me see what I had. Laws on helping other Israelites. So we're going to go to Exodus. And this is literally what we got to do, you know, because everybody is dealing with something, you know. We got brothers and sisters that may be on tough times and may deal with tough times. You know, this isn't to say, hey, you know, you got to do what you got to do on your own. You on your own. No, we should be coming together in these last days and helping others to the best of our ability. So let me get this real quick. In Exodus 22. Exodus chapter 22, and I'm going to start at verse 25. It's the book of Exodus chapter 22 and starting at verse 25, and it reads, if thou lend money to any of my people that is poor by thee, thou shalt not be to him as an usurer, neither shalt thou lay upon him usury. So that's going into a profit. We can't try to make a profit off our own people. You know, if we help somebody out, you know, if we give somebody, let's say somebody asks us for $20, we can't say, all right, I'm gonna need 30 back. That's against the commandments. So we can't do that. We can't be dealing with usury, you know. That's against the commandments. So let's get Leviticus. Just going over a couple of law, statutes, commandments on dealing with helping one another out. So this is Leviticus chapter 19, and I'm gonna start at verse 13. Leviticus 19 and 13, and it reads, "Thou shalt not defraud thy neighbor, neither rob him." You know, so you can't be robbing and defrauding your people, man. You know, I seen a video where somebody a sister had asked somebody to take a picture for her, and so the whole time they trying to take the picture, you know, they went into her Cash App and they cashed out their self money. You know, they instead of going to take the picture, they took the phone and they went straight to the person Cash App and they cashed out them the money, when the whole time they were supposed to be taking a picture. You know, so that's defrauding and that's robbing your brothers and your sisters. You know, so reading this again, Leviticus 19 and 13, "Thou shalt not defraud thy neighbor, neither rob him. The wages of him that is hired shall not abide with thee all night until the morning." So hey, they do us wrong in these on these jobs. You know, as the scriptures say, we supposed to get paid the same day for the work that we do. You know, but instead they wait a whole week. They wait a whole 2 weeks, and you got some that even wait a month. They get paid once a month. You got some that get paid twice a month. You know, you got some that may have to wait a whole week to get paid. You know. Let me get this in James chapter 5. And that's what Esau do. He'll wait a whole month to pay you, a whole 2 weeks to pay you. This is James chapter 5, and I'm going to start at verse 1. "Go to now, ye rich men, weep and howl for your miseries that shall come upon you. Your riches are corrupted, and your garments are moth-eaten. Your gold and silver is cankered, and the rust of them shall be a witness against you, and shall eat your flesh as it were fire. Ye have heaped treasure together for the last days." You know, so these these people, these heathens as well, you know, hey, they gonna have something coming for them. You know, because they going against the commandments. Verse 5, James chapter 5, verse 4. "Behold, the hire of the laborers who have heaped down your fields, which is of you, kept back by fraud." So you gotta pay that man right then. You gotta pay that woman right then. After they finish that work, that day, that night, whenever, "which is of you kept back by fraud, crieth, and the cries of them which have heaped are entered into the ears of the Lord of Sabaoth," which is another way of saying Lord of hosts, Lord of armies of Israel. You know, so the Lord of hosts is going to get up with those that kept back, you know, the payment of those who have put in the work and supposed to be rewarded right then. You know, so let's go to Leviticus 25. You know, Leviticus chapter 25, and start at verse 25. Leviticus chapter 25 and verse 25, and it reads, "If thy brother be waxing poor, and hath sold away some of his possession, And if any of his kin come to redeem it, then shall he redeem that which is his brother's, that which his brother sold. So if your brother had something that was sold, hey, you have to redeem that. So reading this again, Leviticus 25 and 25, and then I'm gonna jump down to verse 35. If thy brother be waxing poor and had sold away some of his possession, and if any of his kin come to redeem it, then shall he redeem that which his brother sold. So you got to be able to redeem your brother's possession. So let me go down to verse 35, Leviticus 25 and 35. And if thy brother be waxing poor and fallen in decay with thee, then thou shalt relieve him. Yea, though he be a stranger or a sojourner, that he may live with thee. So, regardless, now this is strictly an Israelite. So, this is literally the spirit that we should be in these last days. If our brother is falling if he's waxing worse, waxing poor, we have to help him out. Not turn a blind eye. We got to be able to help one another out. And if we was able to do this, hey, the nation would be in a whole better state than what it is now. Let me get Deuteronomy real quick. Deuteronomy chapter 15. Deuteronomy chapter 15, and I'm gonna start at verse 11. Deuteronomy chapter 15 and verse 11. For the poor shall never cease out of the land. Therefore I command thee, saying, thou shalt open thy hand wide unto thy brother, to the poor, and to the needy in thy land. Now we know Tobit, told Tobias to give and be aware of giving, and give to the point where, you what's the word I'm looking for? Give to the point where, it's a balance, Let me see if I can find this precept in Tobit. I don't wanna just, let me see. I believe it's in Tobit, the first chapter. Let me see. Let me see if I can find this precept. This is Tobit chapter 1. I'm going to start at verse 3. I, Tobit, have walked all the days of my life in the way of truth and justice, and I did many alms deeds to my brethren. So Tobit, he gave many alms to his people. I'm going to jump down to verse 16. Tobit chapter 1 and verse 16, and it reads, and in the time of Enemisar, I gave many alms to my brethren, and gave my bread to the hungry, and my clothes to the naked. And if I saw any of my nation dead or cast about the walls of Nineveh, I buried him. So, this man, he was able to do, according to the laws, statutes, and commandments. So this is who we should be learning from, and who we should be taking notes after. This is mighty. I don't want to spend all night trying to look for this precept, but nevertheless, he basically gave, wisdom to Tobias, to be able to give alms and take heed to thy giving. You know. But nevertheless, I got a couple more. Nevertheless, let me get Deuteronomy chapter 24. This Deuteronomy chapter 24 and verse 12. And it reads, and if the man be poor, I'm going to start at verse 10. Deuteronomy 24:10. When thou doest lend thy brother anything, thou shalt not go into his house to fetch his pledge. Meaning, if you lend to your brother, you know, you gotta just, you know, don't go in his house trying to look for everything, you know. And you got our people do that all the time. You know, when they lend to somebody, you know, they pretty much they'll go in their pockets, they'll put their hand in their pockets, or they'll go in their car, be like, where my money at? You know. Or they'll go in their house, be like, where my money at? Give me my money. You know. So hey, we got a whole commandment where we shouldn't be doing that. You know. So just let them just give them time. Let them give you the money. You know, don't go in his house looking for it. Don't go in his car looking for it. Don't put your hands in his pockets looking for it. You know, don't try to check his cash out talking about what's your password. Give it to me. You know. So if somebody owe you some money, you can't. It's against the commandments to fetch it. You know. Deuteronomy 24:10. When thou doest lend thy brother anything, thou shalt not go into his house to fetch his pledge. Thou shalt stand abroad, and the man to whom thou doest lend shall bring out the pledge abroad unto thee. So, you know, hey, you gotta let him give it back to you. You know, don't force it. Don't force it. So let me get this right quick. This is this is Deuteronomy chapter 24 and 13. Deuteronomy 24. I'm gonna start at verse 12. And if the man be poor, thou shalt not sleep with his pledge. In any case, thou shalt deliver him the pledge again when the sun goeth down, that he may sleep in his own raiment, and bless thee, and it shall be righteousness unto thee before the Lord thy most high God. So this is talking about, like, if your brother had gave you a jacket or something like that as to hold for whatever you had lent him. Like if you gave your brother $100 and he said, all right, you can hold my jacket until I give you the money back. That's all. That's what he got to keep him warm. Hey, you got to give him his jacket back at the end of the day, so he can have something to be able to keep him warm with, or whatever he may have used that as a blanket or something like that. So that's what it's talking about, you know. So let me get Deuteronomy chapter 15. Deuteronomy chapter 15, starting at verse 1. At the end of every 7 years, thou shalt make a release, you know. And we have what we call the Jubilee. After 7 years, we had a release, you know. You had to cancel loans. So if another Israelite brother or sister had loaned you some money, you know, and that 7 years comes up, you got to cancel that loan, you know. And so much so, this is the seventh captivity. You know, you had the Egyptian captivity, the Syrian, Babylonian captivity, Persian, the Greek, the Roman, and this is the American captivity. You know, so this is the last captivity, you know. And 7 is a spiritual number, you know. So going back to this, Deuteronomy chapter 15 and verse 1. At the end of every 7 years, thou shalt make a release. And this is the manner of the release. Every creditor that lendeth aught unto his neighbor shall release it. He shall not exact it of his neighbor or of his brother, because it is called the Lord's Yahweh's release. You see that? And even so much so, you know, just some words of advice. if you loan somebody something, loan them something that you ain't gonna be worried about how fast or soon you gonna get it back. Cause it's better you had not loaned it to them if you're gonna stress them the hell out. They may already got stressing on top of what they dealing with, and they coming to you for help. Don't just don't even give it to them if you gonna be worried about it. Hitting them up every day, asking them for it. You know, hey, don't even worry about it. Just don't even give it to them. You know, so it's better to just loan them something or give them something where you ain't even gonna be stressing and looking for it back right then and there. You know. So Deuteronomy chapter 15, and let me see. This is Deuteronomy chapter 15 and verse 9. I'm going to start at verse 8. Deuteronomy 15 and 8. But thou shalt open thy hand wide unto him, and shalt surely lend him sufficient for his need, and that which he wanted. Beware that there be not a thought in thy wicked heart, saying, the 7th year, the year of release, is at hand, and thine eye be evil against thy poor brother, and thou givest him not, and be slacking, and he cry unto the Lord Yahweh against thee, and it be sin unto thee. So at that 7th year, you know, that loan's supposed to get canceled. And so now, you know, you may have somebody, this is what the Lord's saying, you can't have an evil eye towards them just because that loan got canceled, you know. And Jake, they good for that, you know. He'll be good for that. So-called Blacks, Hispanics, and Native American, they'll be good to the point where having a grudge on somebody. And the Lord said you can't lay your head down and allow your wrath to come upon you. So let me get this in Sirach chapter 40. This is Ecclesiasticus chapter 40 and verse 29. And it reads, the life of him that dependeth on another man's table is not to be counted for a life, but he polluted himself with other men's meat. But a wise man well nurtured will beware thereof. So if you depending on somebody else to help you out all the time, you know, it's almost like, you know, your life doesn't even have a meaning, you know, because you are living off somebody else. You living off somebody else food. You living off somebody else possessions, you know. So reading this again, Sirach 40 and 29. The life of him that depended on another man's table is not to be counted for a life, you know. So you basically eating off somebody else's table, you know, to another extent. And also, you know, you got to look at this on a spiritual scale too, because if you just getting, you know, if you just getting things from the Bible from somebody else, and you can't really study to get things for yourself, you know, you're not really diving into the word like you're supposed to, because you should be able to, if anything you dealing with on a spiritual scale, you know, as far as talking about the matter, a life of a man that depended on another man's table, you know, physically it's talking about, you know, you relying on other men's money to help you get by in life. But on a spiritual scale, you got to look at this like, you know, you can't just always go to somebody for answers according to the word. You know, you got to be able to cut yourself up too. If you're dealing with lust, you got to be able to open the Bible up and get in the Bible and get in the word and get your understanding and get built up, you know, because it may come a day or time you may not be able to reach out to nobody. You may not be able to talk to nobody, you know. So you got to be able to get a good understanding of the Bible from reading and from understanding things that you're dealing with as well, you know. Now it's one thing we all need to be taught, but you know, if you're trying to go to somebody else, if you're trying to go to another man to teach your wife, you living off another man's table. So you gotta study, you gotta build yourself up to be able to learn and to grow, so you can be able to sustain your own table, you know. So let me get Second Thessalonians real quick. Second Thessalonians chapter 3. This is Second Thessalonians chapter 3, and I'm gonna start at verse. I'm gonna start at verse 10. 2 Thessalonians chapter 3, verse 10, and it reads, "For even when we were with you, this we commanded you, that if any would not work, neither should he eat." You see that? So you gotta work to be able to provide and to be able to have things to sustain yourself, food and a spiritual sense too. You know, you got to be able to work in the sword. You got to be able to read. You got to be able to get an understanding, to be able to teach. If that's whatever you desire to do, if you desire to teach, you got to be able to work to be able to have a better understanding and a good sense of knowing how to issue the word out according to how somebody needs you to break stuff down to them. And also, you know, you got to be able to provide. If you're a man that has a household, you got to be able to provide for your household as well. You know, so this is Genesis chapter 3, and I'm going to start at verse 17. Genesis chapter 3 and verse 17, it reads, "And unto Adam he said, because thou hast hearkened unto the voice of thy wife, and hast eaten of the tree of which I commanded thee, saying, thou shalt not eat of it. Cursed is the ground for thy sake, and sorrow shalt thou eat of it all the days of thy life." So, hey, you know, we dealing with curses. You know, we got to get it out of the mud. You know, it ain't an easy, it's not an easy walk in this life. You know, verse 18, Genesis 3:18, thorns also and thistles shall it bring forth to thee, and thou shalt eat the herb of the field. In the sweat of thy face shalt thou eat bread till thou return unto the ground, for out of it was thou taken. For dust thou art, and unto dust shalt thou return. So we gotta work hard to provide. We gotta work hard to, you know, have somewhat whatever we need in this life. Lights, clothes, gas, food, things like that, you know. So with the sweat of our brow, you know, hey, we gotta sweat of our face, we gotta, you know, provide for our households, you know, put food on the table, put bread on the table, and do whatever we gotta do in righteousness to the best of our ability. Let me get this in Sirach chapter 18. Lord willing, get a couple more, and then we're gonna wind down. Sirach chapter 18, and I'm gonna start at verse 33. I'm gonna start at 30. Sirach 18 and 30. It says, "Go not after thy lusts, but refrain thyself from thine appetites." So you gotta learn how to refrain yourself. You know, you gotta learn how to refrain yourself from social media. If you're giving too much to social media, you gotta learn how to refrain yourself from things of this world, and you know, such things that's your appetite. You know, you may not have a smoking problem. You know, you may have a drinking problem. You know, so you gotta refrain yourself from your appetites. You know, you may not have a problem with living paycheck to paycheck. You know, you may be able to You may be able to go months and months and months, but that doesn't mean that you just throw away all your money on stupid stuff. That doesn't mean you just go out and gamble. That doesn't mean you kind of just, don't worry about how much this costs, or I ain't checking the receipt. I'm good. You gotta refrain yourself from your appetites. You know. Verse 30, I'm gonna go down to verse 33. Surah 18 and 33. Be not made a beggar by banqueting upon borrowing. So the Most High, He doesn't want us to dwell so much on borrowing. He doesn't want us to live a beggar life. Now just because Luke 16 said Lazarus was a beggar, that's a parable. That's symbolic. That's not saying Lazarus wasn't working. That's a parable. So we can't be living a beggar's life. We gotta make an honest living and be confident in our hard works, because we don't see no counts where Peter and John and James was begging. They didn't beg people to give them money. People gave them alms and charity. And the Lord put it on their spirit for people to give them alms. Surah 18 and 33 again. Be not made a beggar by banqueting upon borrowing, when thou hast nothing in thy purse, for thou shalt lie in wait for thy own life and be talked on. So you don't want to live a life where you just borrowing all the time. This is Surah chapter 40 and verse 28. Ecclesiasticus chapter 40 and verse 28, and it reads, My son, lead not a beggar's life, for better it is to die than to beg. So you don't want to just be a downright known for being a beggar. You gotta kind of reevaluate such things. Do you have a lot of free time? Is that why you ain't got no money? You might have to pick up another shift. Here and there, you might have to make things happen. But do it in righteousness. So I believe that's all I kind of want to get. Let me get this in Isaiah chapter 26. This is the book of Isaiah chapter 26. And, now we understand we ain't going to have everything to the T. We're going to be short, we gonna have bills that might not get paid. We're gonna have days where we ain't gonna be able to buy this or buy that. Hey, cause the Israelites is struggling. We understand that. This isn't our kingdom. This isn't something that we got set up where we got millions of dollars in the account. We got nice cars and we got nice houses and we got the best clothes. The Lord was struggling. The Lord wasn't walking around with jewelry and flaunting, and he didn't have a lifestyle like, he was just the richest. He came from glory, and he was in Bethlehem, in Galilee, where a lot of people wasn't known for having a lot. So you may not have a lot, but hey, it's okay. Just don't get caught up in stressing yourself out thinking that you gotta, hit the lottery, or you gotta get a scratch off, or you gotta go crazy and, be a millionaire to have a good life. Just keep your hope and your faith and your trust in the Most High. And your reward is coming. Just continue to hold on. Just don't be money hungry to the point where you're willing to do anything to get on top, to get it better than where you at now. So this is Isaiah chapter 26 and verse 3. Thou will keep him in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on thee, because he trusted in thee. So you got to keep your trust in the Most High. You can't put your trust in the money, because the money, this economy is going to go down one day. Lord willing, is coming soon. Sooner than what we expect. You can't put your trust in this economy. You can't put your trust in the cars and the clothes, and you can't put your trust in the temporary things of this world. You got to put your trust in the Most High. Isaiah 26:4. Trust ye in the Lord Yahweh forever, for in the Lord Yahweh is everlasting strength. And your money, the strength of money is going to run out, but the strength of the Lord is going to be everlasting. So, Lord willing, this was edifying to you, fisherman for Zion. Don't count this as a light thing to do. Peace and blessing to you. Continue to hold on and be patient and wait for the Lord to reward you for all your hard work and all of the things that you're doing. You know, try your best to make an honest living and provide for you and your household if you got a household, and to do all you can in these last days with patience, with faith in the Lord and believing in the Lord and working with your hands and doing all you can to be blameless. Not in covetousness and not in greediness and not going after the lust and the cares of this life. You know, you got to give more to the Most High than you do to the flesh, and you got to put your trust in the Most High, you know, because you can't expect the Most High to save you in World War III and Jacob's trouble and martial law if you trust now into the cares of this world, you know. So, Lord willing, this is edifying to you. Call Yahweh by Shema Mashak Yahushua, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahushua, which means bless Yahweh, bless Yahushua. All praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh by Shema Yahushua. Peace and blessings. Shalom. Kwam Yashua.